What's up, gym owners? Today we're going to be going through Google Ads 101 for growing your business in 2026. My name is Peter Day. I'm a marketing professional with over 14 years experience. I used to work for Optus, which is a big telco in Australia, doing Facebook ads, Google ads, email marketing, as well as mainstream media. And I actually worked directly with Google during my time there as well. So I've given you some of these insights directly from the source. I've been running my own gyms for over a decade, and I now have coached over 200 gym owners on growing their own business through marketing and sales and scaling. All right, let's get stuck straight into it. So Google Ads for gyms. Now, this is one of my favorite topics, and it's one of the ways you can really get on the market and really propel your gym in 2026. And not many people are doing this. So I'm going to walk you through. Now, this is more of a 101 guide on how to put it together and how to look at Google Ads, because they're very, very different from Facebook ads if you've never done them before. Okay, so what is Google Ads? There are a lot of buckets when it comes to running your gym and marketing for your gym as well. And Google Ads is one of the paid advertising platforms that you can use, or media that you can use in order to grow your business. Now, there's a lot here, so I don't want you to get overwhelmed with it, but that's kind of where it sits in the big remit. Now, Google Ads, specifically what I'm going to be talking about here, is paid advertising on Google search. So these are the results that are shown before organic results. So when you do a Google ad, you actually do come up, and I'm sure you've probably seen this before, where it says paid advertising at the very top, or sponsored results, it says. So you can actually bid on keywords and put your business at the top with a specific marketing message. Now, you can get pretty advanced with this one. This presentation is the best way to look at it more broadly if you're going to be putting these together for your business. But that's kind of where they show there as well. Now, Google ads are very different from Facebook paid ads. Very, very different. I'm going to talk through the differences. When you're marketing Google, it's based on intent. I'm going to explain that. Now, this comes directly from Google explaining to us when I used to work in telco on how this works. Google is a pull marketing channel, not a push channel. An example of a push channel is when you send advertising out. So if you do a Facebook ad, you're pushing the marketing message out. Radio pushes it out. A pull channel means they've searched. So they've searched for gym in my area, group training facility, something like that. And they come into, and then you pop up in the advertising. It's very different in the way that it works. That's why it's based on intent. Your potential leads have to search for you before you actually click on these ones. Now, this is probably where most people go wrong. I'm going to check myself here. This is where most people go wrong. Your campaigns should be based on the likelihood that someone will come to F45 or insert your gym here. Now, if you've never done this before, this is the most common mistake I see, and you'll waste money if you do this wrong. Google will try to get you to spend money. In other words, they want you to spend money on terms which are searched really frequently. So really broad terms like protein, weight loss, squats, those kind of things aren't really people who are intending on coming to, say, a group training facility. They're low intent words. There's nothing wrong with them, but if someone searches weight loss and they're in your area, the chances of them coming to group training gym pretty low, if I'm being really honest. Medium intent examples, gym near me, personal trainer, gym, Pilates. Those are what I call medium intent examples. Now, if you're a Pilates studio, you might want to push up to the high intent. It depends on your gym. High intent examples, group training, gym and so forth, HIIT training, any of your direct competitors. If your direct competitor is being searched, I want to be at the top of that search engine. Now, where you sit on this continuum is your choice. So I'm not saying you only go for these ones, but what I would say, if you want to be smart with your spending, choose words which have a higher intent or likelihood of someone coming into your business. Now, Google will suggest these types of ones all the time because they want you to spend money. I want you to spend money smartly that gets you business. So I personally try to go for high intent words there. And just be careful when you're doing this one. You can also build ads around certain words. So for example, if I'm targeting big box gyms in my area, I could pick all my competitors and I could write an ad which says something like, do you get bored of running on the treadmill and just want to be involved in a group class? Or do you run on a treadmill because you don't know what to do in the gym? More on that another time, but just giving you some examples there. Now, in my experience, when you do higher intent words, the return for Google ads for local gyms is much better, generally. Not saying these are wrong at all. They're definitely not. They will give you more viewership and more impressions in your area, which is always going to help. Marketing, always, more impressions is going to generally help. But having said that, dollar for dollar, these are ones that are going to be better. All right, let's talk about setting up your Google campaign. Now, this is the actual steps you'd go through to set one up generally. So if you've never done this before, follow along for this one and you'll be able to do it. One is create a campaign objective. Now, there's a whole lot here. Most of the time, you probably want them to go for website traffic. Now, I know in Facebook ads or meta ads, lead forms are one of the best ways to do. This one's a little bit different. Now, you can pick lead form if you would like to, comma, when is the last time you were on Google and filled out a lead form? I've A/B tested these out. I've faced, generally from my experience, I haven't seen very good results from doing the lead forms in here. I know on Facebook, it's a different platform. People respond to it differently. When I'm searching for things on Google, I just typically click on the website. I do often sometimes put the app in there when I'm doing these as well to give them multiple CTAs. Having said that, website traffic is typically the best. So I'd recommend that. Now, there's a whole, number 2 is create the campaign objective. Now, there's a few here. Performance Max is the one Google recommend, which goes across different platforms, YouTube and display. Display is basically like on a website. It's on the site. It can be somewhere on the website as an example. So it's just maximizing or putting in different areas. For local group training gyms, which is most people watching this as well, I found search to be the most effective. I'm trying to go for efficiency of dollar. I pick search. You can absolutely do Performance Max. It'll spread it across different platforms, but I don't know. YouTube as an example for local gyms typically doesn't have as high of an ROI. Up to you, but I would recommend search. Location. This is really important. Don't skip the step, otherwise you'll waste your money. Very, very important. When you get to the location step, enter another location, and this is done on postcode. Now, a really good way to do this one is to Google, go out of this, Google your postcode and see the area, and try to work out which postcodes are most likely. Now, like exactly the same as Facebook ads, the wider you go, you're going to get people from outside the area a little bit more, not outside the area, but less likely to come in there. My recommendation would be try to go narrow to start, then expand it. When you type it in, it'll tell you how many people are on that postcode, which is really handy. If it starts to get in the hundreds of thousands, I would pull it back a little bit. If I were being honest, don't go for 1 million people on a couple of postcodes. It's way too many. Even if you get 30, 50,000, it highly depends on the area. If you're in a city, obviously you're going to have more people in those postcodes, but somewhere between kind of 20 and 200,000, let's call it, would be kind of where I'd recommend. There's no right or wrong answer, but again, I would personally try to go for your most likely to start with. You can always expand it. Very important you do that. Okay. Now, this is where you enter your key words or phrases. This is going back to those intent words. When you get to the screen, pop in your final URL. Under keywords, you write what you want to, hit training, enter, group training, enter, competitors, enter, and you want to keep going through. Now, you can enter as many as you like. I would personally recommend to try to enter as many high intent words as you can to start with and work from there. Now, you can choose exact match or broad match. Here's the difference. So if I put F45 and I have that as a broad match, it means if they type F45 training, it'll still come up. If they type in F45 gym, they'll still come up. If I type in exact match, they have to type in just F45 and it'll come up. You can edit this later, so don't stress too much. Now, here's a cost saver for you. As a hint, you can add what's called a negative word. Now, a negative word means if they search for it, they don't come up. So I own an F45 studio. I put F45 terms personally as negative words. Why would I do that? If someone's searching F45 Seaforth and I own F45 Seaforth and jump on there, the chances of them clicking the website is very high because they're searching for me anyway. So I personally don't want to sponsor that one. So that way they search F45 Seaforth and they click it and I pay for that click because they're looking for me anyway. Now, you don't have to do that one. If you've got a lot of competitors that bid on your business, you might want to do that in your area. But in most cases, I'd recommend your personal business be negative words. That way you're not wasting your money. Because again, Google will put the money towards what's the highest likelihood to be clicked. If someone's searching F45 and they're in my area, which is Seaforth, then the chances of them clicking is really high. So it's going to naturally put most of the spend there. And again, I'm trying to target competitors and people going to group training gyms outside of that. Again, your choice, but just so you know exactly what it does. Step 6 is asset generation. Now, Google and Meta are very different. On Meta, you have to generate the ad, the image, and build it all together. On Google, you give them the assets, so headlines, descriptions, images, and it'll automatically jumble them up in what's the most likely for them to actually click on. You can make it more specific, but the algorithm is extremely smart and it'll probably beat us anyway. So my recommendation is to fill out the headlines on ones which are more likely to be associated with your gym, and same with the descriptions, and it'll automatically start to populate it for you. The algorithm is very, very smart nowadays. So that's setting up the ad generally, and you obviously check the reports as you go. This is just a 101 for Google Ads for people who want to set them up. You want to start with high intent campaigns first, have an organic trial. So my recommendation with the trial, probably go a little bit lower than you normally would. On Meta, I love doing, 30-day challenges, 3-week challenges, those types of things in there. For your Google Ads, because it's self-serve and you probably won't speak to them, I would recommend doing your organic trial. Now it's a cheaper trial, up to you. Build out a strong list of keywords. Spend time on the asset generation, because that's going to be really key. Don't do it quickly, like spend time writing it out, and track the results and tweak ongoing. If you want help setting up these campaigns and other marketing channels for your business, My Business Apex Academy work with gym owners on implementing this, plus Meta ads, plus email campaigns, plus socials, and basically a whole marketing strategy for you. And this is just one part of the strategy. If that sounds cool and you want to learn more, you can either book in a call. I'll put the link in the bio down below, or you can email me, peter@gymgrowthcoach.com, and we can actually go through this. Now, the first call is not a sales call. I go through the biggest opportunities in your business today to see where those opportunities are, and then we go from there as well. Other than that, guys, if you have any other questions, let me know. And if you haven't cracked at this, let me know too. And hopefully you guys keep moving forward and grow your business into this year and beyond.